Hey guys, I have typed a activity in Excel for you guys to show you how to do manipulation and make changes to a Microsoft Excel workbook. You probably don't have this activity in your current textbooks, but it doesn't matter. What I need you to do is I need you to listen to the instructions, because I'm going to read the instructions as it's given, and then I want you to see how we're going to make the changes. Because at the end of the day, you are going to apply the same thing with your activities. Okay. So first of all, let's read what the activity says to us. In this activity, you will create a simple spreadsheet. Create a new blank Excel workbook. Okay. So that's what I've done. I've opened up Excel and I have a new workbook in front of me, and then I've typed the information that they gave me. Then they say we must save the workbook as, and then they gave us a file name. It's very important to save the workbook as the name that's supplied to you. Don't give workbooks different names, especially in an exam. Because if you give workbooks different names when you are working in exams, they're going to use that same file name later on to be used again. And if you saved your workbook with a different name, you're not going to know what they are talking about. So always save the workbook as indicated in your instructions. Very, very important. Now let's just quickly save this workbook just so that you can see again how to save. When you want to save a workbook, you will click on File. You'll click on Save As, and remember I said always browse. So click on Browse, just wait for your window to open, and then look for your documents. It's always best to save in documents, guys. You can save on the desktop as well. There's nothing wrong to save on the desktop, but just ensure that you either save desktop or documents. Okay. And then when you give it a file name, remember, give it the unique name that they supply with. In this activity, they say save it as activity 3. So let's save it as activity 3. Right. Very important, remember to open up your folder. In this case, I am just going to save it in the documents. I'm not going to save it in a specific folder. And then remember to click on Save. Right. Now my document is saved, and they say I must close the workbook and then I must open the workbook again. So I'm going to do that just to show you how to open the workbook again. This is if you want to open the workbook in Excel, or you can go to the file path where you've saved the document. This is how I showed you how to open your workbook. So you can close the program. You can go to your file explorer. You can look for documents folder, and there's the document where I've saved my Excel spreadsheet. I've saved it under documents. So I'm just going to open this quickly. Okay, so there is my document back, and now I can continue with editing my files. Right, so I've already typed the data, and now I can make changes. They want me to change, they say here, change the font of the entire spreadsheet to Arial size 12. Okay, now as you can remember, I've said to you, when you want to change the font of the whole sheet, remember we're working in sheets, right? If you want to change the font of the whole sheet, you must highlight the whole sheet. You can either press or click this button between A and 1, or you can say Control A, whichever works easier for you. Change the font. Our instruction says Arial, and our size 12. It's already in size 12, so I just changed the font to Arial. They say set the fonts of rows 1 and 2 to bold size 14. So these two rows here, they refer to rows. Okay. They didn't refer to the cells, they refer to the rows. So I'm going to highlight both the rows, the whole rows, which is fine. I'm going to change it to bold. And I'm also going to change the size to size 14. Okay. Make the headings in row 4, this is A4 to E4 in bold. So now they have talked about a specific range here. A4 to E4, where's A4? There's column A, there's row 4, so A4 to E4. This is the range, okay? And then they say make it bold. Wow. Now before we continue, I first want to show you that there's a problem here in my spreadsheet. What is the problem? The problem is I cannot see all the text. I have to adjust the columns here because as you can see, I've typed the text but I can't read the text. So it's very important to adjust the columns. And I'm going to show you the easiest way to adjust your columns is by using the auto fit option. Highlight the whole spreadsheet, go to your format option and say auto fit your column width. And then you'll notice now I can read all my information. Unfortunately, when I used the auto fit option, it made column A very big. It made column A as big as the first sentence, My Africa Tour Operators. So if you want to reduce the size a little bit, you can do that just by clicking and dragging column A little bit smaller so that it's the longest line is according to row 7, shark cage diving. Because if your heading overlap into column B, it's not a problem. It's just that the information under tour must be readable. Because it's okay if your headings overlap to the next cell. Right. So this is how you adjust your columns. I hope that makes sense. Now the next thing is they say that we must insert borders as indicated. Now remember, you will not see what's indicated because you don't have the activity in front of you. But I'm doing it so that you can see how to apply the borders. Now, according to these instructions, they want me to apply borders only to the data. So only to this data, they want me to apply the borders. So what I'm doing is I'm highlighting all of the information, as you can see. And then the borders is going to be under the Home tab. There's the borders in the font box. There are my borders. When I click on the drop down arrow, I've got many options. These options will be familiar to you if you can remember how to work with tables in Microsoft Word. So I'm going to apply all the borders according to my instructions, but they want me to change the outside borders of the whole selection of data, just the outside border, to a thicker border. So when I click again on my drop down arrow, I've got an option here that's called thick box border. So I select thick box border, and you will notice now that the outer border of this information is a bit thicker now than the other borders. And then I also have to apply the thick box border just to the headings. So I did that twice. They didn't indicate that the inside borders must also be thick, only the outside borders of the whole data, of all the data, and of the headings. Right. But you guys will see when you do activities, you will immediately see the difference in the borders when it's in your textbook. So you will see where to apply a thicker border or just normal thin borders. Okay, let's see what else they say we must do. They say centralize the data in columns A to E, rows 4 to 9. Okay, So column A to E, rows 4 to 9. So they're actually referring to A4, from A4 to E9. Okay, that's the range. And they say centralize the data. In other words, we must just change it to center. So all the information is then centered. And they say adjust the column width so that all the data is visible. That's what we've done when we auto-fitted all the information. Another way that you can auto-fit information, instead of using the format auto-fit column width option, you can highlight the whole sheet, and just with your mouse you can double click between any column. Do you see my cursor changes? And the moment when you double click, it will automatically adjust your columns as well. Okay, so this is for now all we had to do in this activity. Just showing you how to apply borders, how to apply basic formatting like bolding and changing the size of your font and changing the font type. One last thing I can also show you is how to center and merge your headings, because this is an instruction you will find quite often in your activities. When they're talking about centering and merging, they want you to center and merge your heading across all the information that's typed in your Excel spreadsheet. With other words, if you have a look, our information is spreading from column A up until column E. There's nothing in column F, G and onwards. So the last information that was typed was in column E. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our heading in row 1. Very important, do not highlight the whole row, because we do not want to merge the whole row. Very important. Do not highlight the whole row. We're only going to highlight the heading across the cells that we have typed our information underneath. So with other words, I'm going to highlight from A1 up until E1. Okay, because that's the heading. We want this heading to be centered over the information. And then in your home tab, you've got an option called merge and center. You click on merge and center, and there you will see now your heading is merged and centered over the information. This makes it or this rounds off your Excel spreadsheet to look neat and tidy. If you select more, more cells to merge and center, then you're going to have a problem, because it's not going to look centered. It's going to look maybe more right aligned, or whatever the case might be. With other words, what I'm trying to say is, before I show you what it can look like, let me also show you, if you merged and centered incorrect, you can just click on on the heading that you've merged, and then you can just deselect merge and center, and it will undo the merge for you, and then you can merge again. So let's say if you go and you merge your heading across empty columns where there's no information, for example, and you merge and center, do you notice that your heading is now centered, but it doesn't look centered over your information? Okay, it looks more right aligned. So you do not want to do this. Always keep this in mind. When you want to merge and center, you only select the columns up until where the last information is typed. I'm repeating myself here, but it's very important to remember this. Otherwise, you're going to end up with an effect like this, and this is incorrect. You will be penalized, because this is not the way we merge and center. So I'm showing you again. When you merge and center, highlight only up until where the information stops. Merge and center, and that is the way that you do it. Right, I hope this video was helpful and informative. Thanks for watching.